Hey everybody,
how's it going?
Rock on. Hey, happy St. Patty's, guys.
We got JJ, Shane, and obviously me.
Yeah, we're going to start off with
How often
some,
do you see JJ around here?
just over there.
Yeah, so let's, we're going to stump the chump. Obviously, you know, if you stump us, like, take this opportunity to take a swig. But we're going to start off with some Irish car bombs, right? So we've poured the Guinness, and we've got the Jameson, which I generally dislike. This is me taking one for the team. And now we're going to apply the cream. You always apply the cream very last so it doesn't curdle. So we'll just go ahead and uno, dos.
Probably should put a towel out.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, grab it, guys.
All right.
Ready?
Yeah.
And drop. JJ won.
Man, I thought I had it.
Barely.
You're my man.
Excellent job, JJ.
I got crap in my beard. All right. Let's do this thing.
That's tasty.
Yeah, let's get these questions going. All right, so I don't even have, I'll open up the programs as we need them. So what's the first question?
I work for a large school district. All of my computers are in one OU on the domain, and I don't have access to the other OUs. Is there any way to set,
to set that OU as my default OU when adding computers to a deploy rather than having to browse through the whole domain? Okay, so you're talking about, the answer is, the quick answer, there's a way to do it, but the quick answer is no. Not natively in deploy. When you say, you know, choose your targets from PDQ or from Active Directory, let's open this up. Let's say I want to deploy, you know, 7-zip. What you're talking about is choose targets, Active Directory. Yeah, this is going to, you know, open this up and you're going to have to drill down. So what I'd recommend doing is using inventory in that case, so that in inventory you can say create a collection just of computers that are in this OU or have this OU in their parent OU, so it can handle all of the you know, sub collections and stuff, or sub OUs. So I have one collection in PDQ Inventory that does that, and then have that be your target if you want, and that should remember that. So that's, you can do it kind of with inventory, but not natively with deploy.
Yep. All right, next question. For some workstations, I want Firefox and Chrome to update automatically. I love that you can do that. Chrome was easy to change the command line switch. For Firefox, I need an option that will override the mozilla.cfg in the repository. Is it possible?
All
Keith
right.
J. Hey, love that picture of Keith there too.
Thanks, Keith. I'm going to go ahead and import this, if it'll ever download. I'm going to import this and Chrome. So you're saying, you know, Chrome is not a problem. Yeah, it's because Chrome, it's, you know, Chrome is actually best managed from a group policy. So you can handle all of those configurations from, you can get the ADMX files from Google. So with, the answer is, it's effectively yes, but it's technically no. If you want to put that question up, I think you mentioned the repository in there.
Yeah, in Mozilla CFG.
Yeah.
In the
Okay, so
repository,
technically no. When you import, like I just imported Firefox, or when you have auto deployment, if you're going to use the Firefox package that we have built, that MMS config file is always going to be copied down to the root level, to your repository Firefox directory. What you're going to want to do though is create your own, it's for the most part a one-time hit, create your own MMS config file, deploy that out to all your targets, because if you look at the, go ahead.
Our package actually goes and checks to see if you already have one out there, and if it's out there, we assume it's the one you want.
Correct. So if you look at the steps 7 and 8, copy Mozilla config. We just say if it doesn't exist. The command step is really just a batch file that's generated at runtime. And here we've just got this in a little if statement. If this does not exist, then copy it over. Otherwise, don't. So create your own MMS config, copy it out to the same directory, and then
After that,
yeah,
you're
after
good to go.
after that, you have to make sure your new machines get hit with that new MMS that you have. But at least from our Firefox package, at this point, we just have always said if we see that out there, we're not going to touch it.
Yep.
Which could make a mistake if we ever have to be a problem if we ever have to change that.
That is going to be.
On our end.
Good point.
All right, what's the next question? In SCCM, we are fond of using task sequences, the PDQ package with steps. But there is one function I'm missing. Maybe it's possible to use PDQ inventory groups and query during the steps. I think I know where this is going. I know I can do this with scripts, but I would love to have an easier, trackable way to handle this so my colleagues can find and understand why or why not something isn't installed. Okay. Hi, Matthias. All right, so the key part of this, which is going to be a technical no again, is the steps. When you're running the actual steps, at that point, you cannot query inventory. Yeah. You can query inventory to select your targets, which obviously it collects those targets before the actual deployment because it's using those targets to know who to deploy to. But once that deployment kicks off, no, there's not a native way to go out and check for inventory inside of a step. So, and as you mentioned, yeah, you can do this with scripts. Yeah, you could. So
that's pretty much how you have to do it now.
At this point, yeah. Now we are working on some features. Adam and I have been discussing this very recently, where we're going to have kind of what's called file and registry conditions, where you can kind of do the same thing where when you have a step, you can say, hey, look to see if this registry value exists or what the value is and do conditions based off of that or off of a file. We're not planning on doing a WMI one, but registry and file, so you can at least kind of duplicate what inventory will do at runtime. So you can have a step say, only run this if this registry key exists with this value or higher or something like that. That's forthcoming. Yeah. So right now you're limited to the scripts or, being a little bit more selective in how you create your PDQ inventory collections so that you can get it right the first time. All right.
When it comes to pushing a new version of an application, should I create a new
drink?
You need a drink? I need one too. We need some fresh glasses.
What's up?
Have someone bring a tumbler in here. I need some scotch.
Yeah.
2 tumblers.
Kelly, will you
So, okay, when it comes to publishing a new version of an application, should I create a new deployment package or update the existing package? David, that's kind of a preference for you, man. If you like keeping legacy stuff, create a new package. If you want to keep it kind of clean, less cluttered, update the one you got. So
here's some caveats to that, and that's a great question, David. Let's say that I've got this. I'm not talking about auto deployment. I'm talking about
packages you've made.
Packages you've made. So I've got right here Mozilla Firefox, which is not auto deployment. I've imported this. I may as well just created this locally here. Mm-hmm. Let's say that 4501 comes out. I can come over here, go to the step 3, and change the install file and just say 4501. And then deploy that out. It's going to be just fine. Where you're going to run into a problem is if this package is used in a schedule and you have the stop deploying to computers once they succeed. Because you see that, thanks Kelly. And I'm not going to do scotch, I'm going to do bullet. So if you have this as part of a schedule, and then that schedule has they don't deploy to computers once they've already been succeeded, then you're going to run into a problem. So in that case, you're going to want to do a new package. And it's cool because if you have a schedule out there for Firefox, it's as simple as going to that schedule and detaching. I could say, I'm just going to do this really quick. I'm going to create a new schedule off of Firefox. And we'll do the daily. Actually, we'll do a monthly so we don't
accidentally launch this. I've got a funny story about that one.
And we'll do the 16th from yesterday, so it's not going to do it. And you hit your targets, yada, yada, yada. We'll go to, let's go to Firefox old or something like that. So we'll do, go to a collection, internet browsers, Firefox. Old. Okay, so there's our targets. Options, notice, stop deploying to computers once they succeed. We'll say okay. Now, a new version of Firefox comes out. I'm going to duplicate this real quick just to imitate this. We'll call this Firefox 01 or something. what you would then do is simply come over to this schedule, go to the packages, attach to schedule, and we're going to say grab the new Firefox. All right, and then you can remove the old one this way, or you can just say detach from this window. And now the computer history gets reset. So any computer in that schedule has never received 4501, and they'll get that. So it is a little extra step on your part, unless you're doing auto deployment. Auto deployment removes all of this from, you don't see the packages that you've imported. You just have the repository files.
We take care of the versioning and that. So.
Yep. So that's kind of what auto deployment's for.
Great question. I'm going to drink to that.
All right. Cheers.
Skull, baby.
And yeah, like I said, I'm not drinking scotch. I like this bullet rye.
I'm drinking Jameson's. It's St. Patty's Day.
It's St. Patty's Day in Kentucky.
Oh. Okay, Larry.
Larry Coe. Hey, buddy.
Larry out in South Africa. Often get calls to say PC is slow to find our teachers are late. Yeah, this is definitely Larry. To find our teachers are lazy and never log off, just lock the computer and then go away. Next user does the same, and then the next, yada yada. Inventory can show as active, locked, or disconnected. I think I know what you're talking about. Can I get a report to show all users disconnected so I can shout at them and show them who's boss?
I love your wording,
I don't know
Larry.
why
You are the boss,
shout at them
baby.
to shut them down.
That's right.
Okay, so the answer is yes. What you're talking about, what Larry's asking, I'm going to go to inventory.
Inventory.
Here. See if we have it. Look at our current users over here, and you can see which ones, and this is always based off of the last
Log on.
Right?
As of the scan. The last log on of the last scan.
So if you see something like locked or disconnected is a remote desktop that someone's opened up and never closed, so it's locked effectively. Locked or disconnected, that means that yes, as of the last scan, and keep in mind, it's always based off the last scan. So if this was scanned 2 days ago,
Good
it's
luck,
probably changed.
baby.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So what I'd recommend that you do is there is a scan profile pre-built. You can always build your own as well. There's a scan profile that is called computer info. And the only scanner it runs is the computer details, which includes the logged on user. But it's a really fast scan profile because it only contains one small scanner. So I would, before you do this, before you start screaming at people, Larry, just go to your all computers, scan using computer info. It's not going to scan applications or services or anything. It's just going to scan basic computer information.
And the thing about it, Larry, what I'd do, I'd make a package that says something like, I can't believe you didn't log off, you blankety blank blank.
Or just deploy.
And then deploy a reboot.
Oh, no. Or
a shutdown, yeah.
we have a package out that you can just deploy a log off users. But to find out which ones, without having to just scroll through, go to a report. Let's
Go the whole,
create a new report, basic, or you can do this on a collection and just say, locked computers. And remember, we did a scan just so that we could see, get the most updated information. But computer, I think it's under user.
Current user.
Is it current user?
It is current user, yeah.
Thanks, Lex. You're awesome, man. Yeah, current user. So we're going to run this real quick just to make sure. There you go. So all you got to do now is say anybody. Let's go back to define in our filters. And we'll just say current user contains, because you want to do contains.
Disconnected or locked?
Locked.
Yep.
Locked. You could also do, if you want to do disconnected, you could do 2 of these. Contains disconnected. And then just change this top group filter to any. So either of these will return true. It's okay. Run it. These are the machines. These are the people you're going to yell at or send a log off package to, something like that.
Shane, we have a clarification of the answer here by Chris.
Chris. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Lean down so people can see you, man.
Hey, so I think the original question was asking about this guy who might have multiple users logged onto the same machine and disconnected.
Is that what he was saying?
And so to enumerate them, you might have to look at the registry or something.
We think so. Let's.
Okay, so Larry. Okay, yeah. So
It's multiple
the
users,
Scan,
it's a little more.
the scan user is just going to grab. If there's multiple users that are logged on, what we do is we return the first one that the scanner sees.
Yeah.
So number one, and just if you want, since you're already saying yelling, just go over here to let's create a new package, and just add a new step to log off. And you know, you might want to be a little safe and just say, don't log off servers.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Do our conditions, just log them off, and you know,
That's a little bit too kind. I'd reboot. So then you get everybody.
Now you'd
Get
shut
all.
down and not reboot.
That's a good point. I would do that.
Everyone go home.
If you're messing with IT, think about it.
Awesome.
All right.
I love St. Patty's Day.
I do
Me too. Cheers.
Drink to that. If you're at home, drink too. If you can. You got them?
If you're at
Who
home
the
at
hell is
work,
watching this
and
at
keep it-
home.
I
You're at
know.
work. You're at work. You're probably already drinking. Okay. Does
Just a
PDQ
sec, Shane. I want to see your glass, man. Not empty.
No, we don't, he doesn't need to shoot it.
Oh, you are.
He just-
Hey, we were talking earlier. You know, everyone wants to see you get sauced, man. I seem to do it every week.
As Doug Stanhope said, you blow 0.09 on the way to the party.
That's right.
That's disappointing.
PDQ, okay, I'm
'cause,
going to get back to the webcast.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I thought we were going to talk about. I thought the webcast was about drinking today. It's St. Patty's
I'm
Day.
not drinking today.
You know
All
what, JJ? I stand corrected. Thomas W. Does PDQ Inventory have the ability to check warranty status on machines based on the serial number collected? If no, is this a feature that will be added? All right. So,
I want to see how you walk around this one, man.
yeah. Well,
Get ready for the song and dance. I love this. Go, Shane, go.
ready for a nice little pirouette. Okay, so not really.
Yeah.
The closest you can do in PDQ Inventory is to enter the warranty information in what's called a custom field. We don't scan for that information. It varies by vendor if they offer that at all.
Yeah.
Something in like UEFI or the BIOS. So what we do is, I mean, we grab the serial number, but this is kind of going to be a one-time hit. If you really want to do this in inventory, use a custom field.
So you end up going
have
to
some videos.
preferences, yeah.
You have some videos. You first define your custom field, where you'd say something like, "This is going to be
Probably
a date."
yeah.
Yeah, we'll just call it date, and we'll just say warranty end or something like that.
Yeah.
And then once you've defined that, then in every computer you can go over to custom fields and see warranty end and just
Add your value.
Yeah, add the value. So we can just say, yeah, let's say this is going to end, on February 17th of 2017. And there
This
it
is a good job for an IT intern.
Huh.
No, seriously, you know what? I remember when I was an IT intern, man, they gave me all the crap jobs. Give your intern the crap job. Make them earn being able to be an angry sysadmin.
That's what they're there for.
Seriously.
You're a tool. All right. So
I may
and
be
then-
a
and
tool,
then-
but people relate. They want to be mean, man. It's good to be mean to your end users. Reminds them who's boss.
Why do we hire you? So that wasn't on your resume. So anyway,
Being a tool? What do you mean?
Yeah,
It's
so
totally on my resume.
Create collections and or reports saying machines maybe they're going to expire in 2 months or 3 months or something like that, and then you would have your tech refresh information right there. It is a one-time hit. But that's how you can do it from PDQ Inventory. We don't have a scanner to grab that information. It's not usually there, and if it is there, it's not uniform among makes and models, unfortunately. So, nice,
That was a good dance on that one, man.
nice pirouette.
Useful.
All right, from Chris G. When setting up a deployment schedule with the package criteria to not run on machines that have a user logged in, if a remote user using VPN is locked and disconnected from their machine and PDQ Inventory shows username disconnected as current user, would the criteria still be met to not run the package on the machine? Boy,
That's a good question.
okay, so what you're talking about are conditions.
Okay, so there's a couple parts that they're VPN'd in to boot, and then they're also marking as disconnected.
Well, first of all, I'm going to go back to answer that question. So locked computers. Notice these are, so I think he was saying they're locked but disconnected or something like that, right? So these are the machines that are locked and connected. So let's go to, let's not see if we don't want to piss anybody off here.
Oh, we do. Just,
we?
just don't do it to me because a couple of those
All
are
right,
mine.
so I'm just going to, we'll just hit oh hi.
Okay.
All right. So what you're talking about is this guy. We're going to create a new package. And we're just going to create a command. If it was Lex, he would do a reboot. Just going to do a command step that runs dir. It's nothing major. And we're going to say conditions are set to logged on state, run only if no user is logged on. So if a user is not logged on, this would run. But your question is, what if if the user's disconnected or locked? Is that what it was?
Yep.
So details run. We'll hit save.
And we
Now-
know Ohio is locked because we just looked at that after our recent scan.
We
so,
believe that it is.
yeah.
Well, let's do this. Sorry. dir logged on, or logged out. Okay. So now we're just going to deploy it. So if that's still the current state of Ohio, that's from the movie The Room.
The Room? You know, I still haven't seen that.
It's a horrible movie. Ohio County.
It's great.
All right, so Ohio is saying that.
Oh, it failed, yeah.
Yep. So conditions are not met. No steps were run. And if we can just do, we can just do a quick scan of Ohio again, just to make sure that Emily is in fact. We'll just hit
Locked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if it's basically we'll look at locked. We'll look at disconnected, as though they're not logged on. They're not doing interactive work. So that does mean that a user could lose some data. But I hope that answers your question. If they are locked, if they are disconnected, and you have that condition only run if they're not logged on, then that would pass.
Oh, hi, Shane. Oh, hi, Lex.
Oh, hi.
Oh wait, hold on. I'm sorry. I said.
No, I think you got that backwards.
I got
man.
backwards. It will consider them as logged on.
Yes, that's right. It will.
So you could, just to verify, you could come over here to the step and just say, conditions. Nope. Yeah, only run if no user is logged on. So if we say only run if a user is logged on.
Try that
And, here's something you can always do as well. If you're going to say no user logged on, run as logged on user. I'm going to come back over here, and instead of dir, I'm just going to say echo username. Redeploy that. Now this should work because, Emily's logged on, but she's locked.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, I got that wrong when I was summing it up.
You almost got stumped.
Little bit of
I'll
drinking
still
there,
take a
but
drink,
that's a-
right?
we'll drink to that. I'll
Right.
always drink to that.
Just click that. Go to your output log. Sorry, JJ, I know I got that screwed up. Output log, and you'll see
There's
it is.
Emily, yep.
There's Emily right there. So it ran as her. So yeah, I apologize. So if they're locked or disconnected, it will still consider them as logged on.
Yep. That was tasty.
Yeah.
If a large scanner deployment has been started, is there a way to prioritize? Wow. Apparently the liquor's hitting
Once
me.
again, please keep it to 2 syllables or fewer for less.
That's right.
For the sake
Okay.
of simplicity.
Get
know,
out of
I
here.
can't
If
even
a
read
large
that.
scanner deployment has been started, hi Chris.
Chris,
Sorry,
this is to you, buddy.
You meant our monosyllabic friend. If a large scanner deployment has been started, is there a way to prioritize specific computers to get scanned or receive deployment before the rest without aborting? No. Not when we're talking about one deployment, whether it's initiated from
Schedule.
a schedule or manually.
Yeah.
We have our own little system in there of grabbing these computers randomly. There was actually we used to just do it effectively alphabetically.
Yeah.
And somebody said, hey, the way my naming conventions work, this is kind of screwing me up because I'm hoping to have this deployment go random from one site to the other, and all my computers are named by site, beginning with the first character.
So these guys never get the stuff because we run
So
out
yeah,
of
we
time.
made that change a long time ago to just kind of, we look at all the targets and then we randomly sort them and deploy it out. This is kind of poor man's load balancing in a way.
Poor man. I love it. I love it.
the next one.
So, but if you want to do that, you're going to need to break them up into different deployments.
Yep.
Highest priority, deploy first.
Yep. So what else we got?
I'm waiting for Annie to throw a new question up.
Oh, what was that?
Yeah.
Shane needs to drink some more? Excellent. I
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
Then
that's
we'll
exactly what I
talk
said,
about
Lex.
Ireland stories.
Ireland stories. Hey, speaking
Do you have any Ireland stories?
I got a funny scheduling story. We just found out this morning
Speaking of stories,
that Brig, one of our support guys, was testing a schedule, forgot to turn it off and launch something to all our computers.
Yeah, he's one of the support guys that has access to everything.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
pretty
that was
interesting. This morning we're like,
brilliant
who
idea.
installed this? What in the world happened?
So right now, Brig is going, oh,
Yep, yeah.
yeah. Well done,
not-
Brig.
Nice job, Brig. It's nice to have someone do something around
It's
here
not
other
an
than
Ireland
me.
story. Do we have
yeah,
another?
no. He said, speaking of stories,
He's,
So,
do you have an Ireland story?
he's got the confirmation bias. He hears what he wants.
Exactly.
of course.
I got nothing here.
You got nothing?
I got a question.
Yeah, of course.
We got a question.
I've
Here we
got a
go.
lot of Ireland stories. I love that place. All right, is there an easy way to differentiate between desktops and laptops in PDQ inventory? I did a report on all chassis data and then did 2 collections with all desktop chassis and 1 for all laptop chassis. Okay.
Well
I mean,
played, sir. Well played.
yeah, unless you use your own like naming convention or something, chassis is the way to do it. So what they're talking about, we're going to go back to the inventory. Once again, let's go to high. Let's look at computer. What kind of chassis is there? If you scroll down just in the computer, and of course this information is available in a computer table in reports and collections, but this is a desktop. So you really need to use chassis. Now, remember, there's not just desktop and laptop. There's different classifications. There's notebook. There's laptop. There's I don't think there's a tablet. There's portable. I mean, there's these chassis clarifications go back a long way, and it depends on how the vendor of the application has that reported into the SIM layer, which is WMI. So you're going to want to don't just do laptop, don't just do desktop. Break them down a little bit so that you can narrow this down.
I'd do one, and I'd group by and take a look at, here's how many of these and these and these and these I've got, so you know what's out there.
Yeah, some of them might be listed as portable, some of them might be, so.
And then from there, make your collections,
But we do go off, the easiest way, barring your own naming convention, a lot of people say if it's a laptop, it begins with LT or NB for notebook or something. If you don't do that, then you're going to need to use chassis, and that's in the computer table. But once again, don't just limit yourself to those 2. Find out all the different chassis that are used.
Good question.
Yeah, that's a great question. Any other?
Is there a way to enforce a scan of Active Directory to regularly pull in new workstations while blacklisting or excluding other specified computers, typically servers?
What?
Hi, Mac. Okay, so I'm trying to make sure.
So here's the thing, right? I think he wants to exclude, there's a way to exclude servers.
There's a way to exclude there's a way to exclude based off of, not OS necessarily, but off of OU or Active Directory groups. Is there a way to enforce a scan? Okay, so if you want to scan only specific like workstations and not doing servers, you're going to want to have your collections, or you could have your collections based off of OUs or something, excluding servers. That's where you want to do. Now, if you're talking about scheduling scans, which are you schedule the scan profile, those schedules are based on all the computers. It doesn't say. That's actually a feature. That's actually a feature request that we're seriously considering, and that is when you schedule scans, don't just schedule for all computers. Schedule for computers that match certain criteria. So right now, it really is just going to come down to when I scan. If you want to initiate a scan, initiate it against a collection that has already excluded servers, etc.
Yeah,
that's the way to do it.
We're taking our time here.
Taking some time. Hey, that's time for you to drink then.
All right, here we go. Cheers.
Skull, baby.
Cheers.
I got to pour again.
Whether we're stumped or not.
I got to pour again.
Is it possible to deploy ActiveX controls to users without their interaction? I think I know where this one's going. If so, how do you package it and what switches are needed? Okay. Hey, Doug. If the ActiveX control, can be deployed by, if you can grab that in like an MSI or something. If it's just a regular ActiveX control that needs to be executed by the user within that session, that IE session, I don't know how to do that. Yeah, so there's a lot of ActiveX controls, particularly the ones that the vendor, the maker of that control, expected to be used in an enterprise. You'd usually be able to find an MSI of
some type of silent parameters with that too. Yeah.
Correct. So now the MSIs can be broken down in 2 ways. Sometimes they're installed for all the users. That's the easiest. If they are installed per user, then you would have to have a condition set to only run if users logged on, and then run as the logged on user. And of course, at that point, usually IE has to be installed. It's not the easiest thing in the world. It's up to the vendor. If not, then no, I don't know how to do that.
So that's kind of the answer. That's kind of, You can do some of them.
Yeah. Well, I haven't thought about ActiveX controls for a long time.
I try not to, actually.
Yeah.
Do they still use them? Seriously,
Yeah.
But
though.
those things still
You know,
around?
yeah, because there's a lot of intranet applications. A lot of
Oh, yeah.
applications were built expecting ActiveX. That's why a lot. I talk to so many customers who are like, oh, we use Chrome or we use Firefox, except for those few applications that the vendor still.
They're still
expects
built on
IE.
top of like the legacy IE6.
Yeah.
But ActiveX controls are almost always seriously locked down,
Yeah.
usually by group policy, Internet Explorer group policy, so that you don't have because generally the way they are an ActiveX control, when it's executed, it has access to the machine. So that's why it's generally a good idea to block those unless you approve them. But anyway,
Usually.
probably
Block-
not unless they offer an
That's
MSI.
the takeaway. Block them, really, unless you absolutely need them. Is there a way to automatically set the default to continue when doing nesting packaging instead
Wow.
of changing them one by one? What's the wow for, JJ?
He almost got through that without an
Yeah,
interruption.
very surprised.
No, there's not. That might not be a bad feature request for a nested package, but every time a nested package is effectively a step. So every time you create a new step,
That whole package has got to succeed before it will go to the next
whether
step. So.
whether it's an install step or a nested package, the options for that are set to stop deployment with error. That is the most common. That might not be a bad idea for nested packages to say, if this fails, have that set continue. But right now he's saying, I don't want to have to go into all these different steps
To do that.
and say, continue.
Yeah.
So, no, the answer is no. Sorry. Do we have anything else?
Ooh.
I'm just gonna stand
Awkward
here.
silence there.
Awkward, yes.
Hey Jason, what configurations are needed to remotely manage computers through a VPN or other offsite connection using PDQ Inventory and Deploy? Will you ever create an additional client type program to make this easy?
This is a huge one. A lot of people are asking for this.
So if we do this, which it is tentatively planned, we would offer an optional, I have to stress
Optional, yes.
agent, because we don't want to ever force anybody. We're agentless. Most of our customers love that. However, there are some features when you go agentless that you just kind of give up. And for the most part, if we do this, it would be an optional agent. So to answer your second question, we're tentatively planning on that.
Yeah.
Now, as far as to remotely manage computers through a VPN, it's the same requirements through a VPN as it is just through the local area network, and that is you need to have access to those computers via file and print sharing.
You also have to have updated DNS so you can get to them.
DNS, yeah, your DNS needs to be, hopefully if you use DHCP, it automatically updates DNS, but say if somebody comes in through a VPN, a lot of VPNs, people say, I'm going to configure this, but these are remote users, I'm not going to allow, file and print sharing. Well, if you want to use PDQ products, you need to have file and print sharing.
Yep.
So we do have a lot of users that are like, oh, thank you, that's all I need to know. VPN, they enable that. So when a computer comes in through VPN, they can scan it, they can deploy, etc. It's the same requirements, file and print sharing, so we can access the admin dollar share.
Yep.
All right. What are we looking at?
I'm looking at you and an empty glass, man.
I'm fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine.
Is he fine, guys? Does he need another drink? I think he does.
Probably.
Oh, JJ even thinks you need a drink. Kelly, thumbs up on a drink for sure. Oh, everybody.
He doesn't even drink. He's throwing me.
Well, that's the good thing. Kelly's like with you on this. Bring it on, baby.
Maybe take one for the team. All right.
Is there a way to automate cleanup of the package library? All right. Wow. I
After
probably
an
gotta slow
after
down. I can't
importing
read,
an
man.
update, you
I
have
think I know where
release.
this is going. Is there a way to automate cleanup of the package library after importing an update? You have releases. Okay. We are planning, this is forthcoming, where there's going to be the ability when you delete a package, like right now I say, delete the Firefox packages. Delete this. We're going to have a kind of a cleanup method of being able to
Remove it from the repository.
remove those install files. Right now, no, it's kind of a manual process. So you need to go in to your repository. How do you get to your repository? Once again, if you don't have a shortcut for it, just go
File
to
preferences, repository, open the folder.
We'll go to
There it is.
Mozilla as an example, Firefox. So you can see there's these, you just have to come in here and say, delete these old ones.
Don't need them.
That right now it's manual. We are planning on having that. We have held off on that because we have to make sure, we don't want to delete files that are being used elsewhere or referenced elsewhere.
Well, think about it. If you use the same config file for 45 and 40,
Yeah, you don't want to delete that,
yeah,
but
delete the config files. I mean, it's a little bit complex there.
what we're doing is trying to make it so that you don't step on, you don't disable other things, but there's always going to be that possibility. So that is forthcoming. We apologize. We know that's been needed for a while. All right, we've set up. Boy, there's a lot of questions.
I'm going to try this one. You ready?
It is Stump the Chump, So
It is Stump the Chump. Am I the chump today?
we're
Am
all
I
the,
the chump?
we're all the chump.
We've been setting up. Never mind. You guys cannot.
I'm sorry.
Shane, go for it.
He
man.
got through 3 words.
I know.
One of them has a contraction, so they're all
do it.
monosyllabic.
He starts pronouncing IP as. We set up IP printing.
All right, we set up IP printing with a public IP NAT'd to the internal router printer IP address. These printers are Canon IR class, and we all use Postscript drivers. Can a package be created to deploy this printer via PDQ Deploy? Okay, so there's the printer, but you're also talking about you want to create a local port based off of the printer's IP address. Number one, when it comes to the driver, a lot of vendors will offer not just the driver files anymore. That's fairly old school. They offer setup or installations, MSI or EXEs, and a lot of them can be installed silently. You have to find, if it's not an MSI, you need to find the appropriate silent parameters.
Yeah.
That answers that. Now, as far as setting up the IP port, that's something that you'd have to script.
Yep.
And it can be scripted. You'd use a command step most likely, or if you want to use a batch file and then call the batch file via an install
step.
Yeah. So the answer is it's not native, but yeah, can you do it? Yes. If they don't offer the
Silent install.
silent install, then you're going to need to use a utility from Microsoft, most likely called DevCon. It's a device console manager, DevCon, and I believe it's available with the Windows SDK. You need to use DevCon, and DevCon is there. It's a command line interface to add devices. So you'd most likely have to do that. But so many vendors now offer
Silent installs. It's so nice. It really is.
But it's a 2-part answer because you're talking about creating a local port, not using a print server.
Yep. I'm not even going to try.
Thank you.
Not even going to try.
Save us all some pain. When deploying and selecting targets from Active Directory, how can I make PDQ default to an OU instead? Okay, we kind of had this
Yeah, this
similar
was
one.
one of the first questions we had, kind of like.
Yeah. You know what? Let's someone make a note of this
Yeah.
so that we can.
We'll put a KB out on or something.
Well, make a note on this so that we can maybe remember the last. If we want what we could do is probably remember the last
Selected
open one.
OU.
Okay.
selected one, and then always go to that one if it's available.
Do you want Brig to do that?
Pardon me?
You want Brig to do
I
that?
think it's probably
I don't care who does.
Sounds like
it.
a-
Get done.
Brig?
Brig.
Here,
Brig
all
it
right.
up.
Hey, Brig, you owe us after deploying.
After this
know.
morning, man, you owe us.
Yeah.
We only communicate to our employees via public.
Public
Via webcast.
humiliation, yes. Public humiliation is the way we do this.
Every Thursday.
What else we got?
Give me a second.
Hey, you said a second.
guys
That
pull
means
on
you
these
drink.
questions?
I said a second.
It's
There we
one
go. It's a
question
second.
Okay. For PDQ Deploy,
Wow.
from Rob. 2 groups, and now I know why it's taking so long. Annie's having
Good
to
typing furiously.
She's having to add chapters to these things. Okay, for deploy, two groups in Active Directory for local admin, one for workstations, one for servers. In the auto deployment using PDQ Inventory Collection Library, you only get to select one.
Set of credentials.
Yeah, okay. All right, so you're talking about when you deploy. I'm gonna just go back here to Firefox. When you deploy I think this is where you're going. Every deployment, you can only have one set of credentials for that deployment. So if I'm, like, for example, I can deploy Firefox. I'll just go out to Costanza, and I'm going to go to Fletch. Fletch is a machine that is not, it's in our network, but it's not a member of Active Directory. So this is going to fail on Fletch anyway, because Fletch is not a member of a domain, and those credentials are domain credentials.
Yep.
So at this point, it's based off of deployment. So if I want to deploy, I just have to have credentials set up. Now it's time to edit those credentials.
Add some new ones, hey. Local admin.
We'll just keep that blank. You can also put a dot in there, but we'll keep it blank. And then you type in, usually administrator, but whatever local admin group, admin account you have on that machine.
Hey, don't be mouthing the password on live, okay?
I'm not you.
You're not me?
Yeah.
And you hate that, don't you?
So I'm going to test credentials, and I'm going to go against Fletch.
Looks good.
So
Excellent.
Fletch does recognize that account. All right, so now I'm going to say go to Vincent, and I'll type in Fletch, and then deploy. So, yeah, the answer is that this is the limitation right now.
Yeah.
We are actually considering in inventory. It's not the same way. In inventory, I can say, you know, let's go scan.
Let's go find Fletch.
Yeah, in inventory this works because I can say.
There is no Fletch. So we're going to add Fletch.
I can say Fletch. In fact, I'll add them. You could say, okay, I don't have it there either. You can say, you know, add the default. It's going to fail on the scan, but I'll come back over here, add the same. This is in inventory. Pardon me, going to go to credentials, add credentials.
I mouthed some words. I don't know if anyone's a lip reader. But it was not the password, guys. Sorry.
All right, so Fletch is going to fail because, once again, but one thing about inventory is inventory has a scan user. So I can just come over to Fletch and say select scan user, and instead of Quintana, the domain account, I can say use Vincent. And now anytime I can scan all these computers together, and for Fletch it's going to say use Vincent. So what we're planning on doing, most likely, this could change, if you have inventory, then and that computer is in inventory, Deploy can use be able to use the scan user for inventory.
Exactly.
And that's something that we're tentatively planning on. Don't hold me to it. Certainly don't hold me to it for the next release, but we are seriously considering that.
Yeah.
But right now you're still limited per deployment when you're talking about different credentials.
So basically set up your deployments for certain types of, obviously, the credentials you need.
Correct. Hey, JJ.
Yeah, sorry.
Pass out a drawing?
No, we have one more question, but it has some very interesting phrasing. So
Interesting phrasing. That means you and I are last one.
Hey, are we doing another car bomb?
No.
Are we doing one at the
Oh,
end?
dude.
You good?
I'll have to take a nap after this.
Well, come on, man.
Okay, I'll do it. You know, you got to do it too.
Yeah.
What's this?
We did. I brought in
Carl's
Carl's Jr. this morning.
Brought in Carl's Jr.
So
You're
that we
doing a
could.
car bomb.
Rock on.
All right, we'll do it.
We need three new shot glasses if we're
All
good.
right.
We got some over there.
All right, I have a 0-day
Thanks,
auto
sir.
deploy, once for Flash, as well as my scheduled deployments. Do you see any pitfalls with this? When you say 0-day, I mean, I'm assuming you have an auto deployment for, always having the last, the most recent version of these.
I would imagine so. I'm not sure. Maybe we can get some clarification on this.
Yeah.
Anyway, do I see any problems with this? As long as if you're using auto deployment, which you're saying scheduled deployments, as long as you have the don't deploy once they've already been deployed from that schedule,
You're probably going to be good.
Yeah, you're probably going to be good. What you don't want to do is
Just continually deploying to machines that already have it.
But generally, I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah.
No. In fact, it's always a good idea to make sure you deploy the latest. There were some 0-day vulnerabilities that were discovered last year, the end of last year from Adobe. Always just make sure if you do need Flash, if you absolutely need Flash, make sure that you deploy the latest one. And by the way,
The thing about Flash, though, is the Flash. Go ahead, bring this up.
Jason said we're getting a lot of customers that want this broken down, so we just added this week. You usually have your Flash for IE, and that compares Flash for Windows 8, 10, and Windows 7 and earlier, and they're all different. We have broken this down, if you notice, in the Flash latest. These are combined of all of the servers and workstations and all the appropriate Flash versions. You can always check that out by looking at the filters, but we do break these down. Flash, the latest Flash on Windows 10, the latest Flash on Windows 7 and earlier, etc. And then, correspondingly, the old ones. So just since you mentioned Flash, I thought I'd throw that out there. We're really going to do this?
We're doing this. It's St. Patty's Day. Come on.
Let's go to camera 2 now.
JJ's pouring some freshies here.
You know, I do love Ireland. I go there often. Spent 2 weeks there this last year. I went to Donegal, County Donegal. I love it up there. It's so fun. But if I were to choose my favorite Ireland story, definitely everything comes down to Tom Waits for me.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
And
good
you know,
point.
Tom Waits did 3 shows in Phoenix Park in 2008 under the tent. Minutes.
Hey,
all
where's
Tom
your
Waits.
Tom
We need to pick a couple of webcast winners, don't we?
Oh, we got to pick winners too.
Oh yeah. So many to choose from.
If they submitted a picture, let's throw
They
that
win.
in there.
Yeah, there you go. Submitted a picture. Those are winners right there.
Right.
Easy.
If we can,
I love it.
All right.
Basically, if we can see your ugly mug and you're comfortable with that, yeah, throw it down. There were some really good questions here.
There were some
seriously.
great ones.
And thank you guys for all that.
I got to say, you know, if you're less ugly than me and Shane, definitely a winner.
You just filtered out no one. Just so you know, you effectively just said
That's a
nothing.
good
You
point.
effectively just said
They're
nothing.
like he set the bar very low on that.
Isn't that what I do?
No,
I
he
mean,
didn't
come
set
on,
the bar.
Isn't that what I
He
do?
didn't set the
Very
bar
high,
low. He actually removed the bar.
Remove the bar.
Just all right, drop it, guys.
All right,
You
game
guys
on,
suck.
everybody.
Happy St. Patty's Day, guys.
Rookies. These guys are rookies. Look at that. I am so done.
I was
you go.
speaking after you started chugging. Rock on, guys.
See you later.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining us today. And Keith and Matthias, I'll be getting in touch with you to get you your PDQ swag. Had a lot of great questions today. If your question didn't get answered, you can always hit our support site, support.adminarsenal.com. We'll see you guys next Thursday.